Good evening and welcome back, Sleepless Historian. It is always a pleasure to share these quiet hours with you, when the world grows still, when night settles gently over the rooms we inhabit, and when the mind, no longer hurried, begins to wander. Tonight, we will follow those wandering thoughts into places that were once said to be filled with hidden knowledge, secret rites, and old stories. Tonight, we explore the real history behind ancient magic and the cities that held it close. Across centuries and continents, people built settlements not only of stone and earth, but of meaning. They raised temples and libraries, dug chambers beneath the ground, and whispered that within those walls lay mysteries that only the worthy might discover. Magic, in those early days, was not a separate art but part of a larger way of seeing the world, where every river had a spirit, where every mountain held memory, and where every star offered guidance. In these quiet hours, we will travel through the landscapes of that belief. We will begin with the very idea of magic in the ancient world, then wander slowly through Egypt and Mesopotamia, through Greece and Rome, and beyond the familiar horizons to India, China, Tibet, and the distant maps of medieval imagination. Along the way, we will pass cities of sand and stone, cities that vanished, cities that remain in ruins, and cities that may never have existed outside the mind. Why does this matter? Perhaps because magic, as ancient people understood it, was not a strange or forbidden thing. It was a way of noticing patterns, of searching for meaning in the turning of seasons and the path of the moon. Hidden places were not always secret. Sometimes they were simply quiet, overlooked, or forgotten. And so tonight, as we wander through these stories, you may find that the world of ancient magic is not so distant from us. It is in many ways familiar. It is thoughtful. It is slow. It is easy to fall into. Before we begin, I would love to know where you are listening from and what time it is for you. Some listeners join from warm rooms scented with candles and quiet music. Others listen on cold nights, wrapped in blankets, while outside a wind moves softly through the trees. Whether you are settling in for sleep, for gentle rest, or for the comfort of a story, I am glad you are here. These hours belong to you. So get comfortable. Find a position that your body enjoys. Let the weight of the day gently fall away. You do not have to remember everything we discuss. You do not have to pay attention closely. You may drift in and out. That is the nature of these stories. They are told with no urgency at all. Slowly we will wander. Slowly we will learn. And slowly we will rest. Dria Moria is an entertainment channel. While we strive for accuracy, the information we share may sometimes be incomplete or outdated. Our stories are not intended for exams or professional study. They are simply a peaceful way to journey through the past, to wander in imagination, and to find calm in curiosity. If small details shift, if dates or names blur, that is perfectly fine. The goal is not precision, but tranquility. Boring history for sleep is meant to be listened to at the edge of dreaming, as knowledge and comfort intertwine. Now that you are settled, let us begin. Travel back, dear listener, to the earliest dawn of memory, where written history has not yet taken shape, and where stories are preserved only in firelight, echoing from one generation to the next. The world is quieter here. Animals move in the darkness. The stars are brighter. The air is cool, and the fire crackles gently, casting golden light across stone. Imagine a circle of people, wrapped in furs, watching sparks rise into the night. They see patterns in those sparks, just as they see patterns in the heavens above. They listen to the wind. They watch the movements of animals. They mark the turning of the seasons. In this early world, there is no division between the sacred and the ordinary. Everything is one field of meaning. To act in the world is to act upon that meaning. Later, much later, scholars and archaeologists will call this magic. They will classify, divide, and attempt to define. But for the earliest people, there is nothing to define. Magic is simply the way of things. Picture a healer standing by a riverbank, hands covered in herbs. Picture a singer chanting softly to help a woman through childbirth. Picture a hunter painting images of animals on a cave wall, believing that pigment and prayer make the hunt successful. These are not illusions. These are actions rooted in belief, in observation, and in hope. They are cautious and practical, born from experience that has lasted generations. Magic is protection. Magic is healing. Magic is memory. Centuries pass. The first villages form, then towns, then cities. With cities come walls, temples, markets, writing. The world becomes more complex. Yet still, there are places set aside for quiet work. Groves where trees meet overhead, springs where water rises clear from rock, caves whose entrances are narrow and dark. In each culture, certain places gather meaning, as if power draws itself inward. Across continents, patterns appear. There are always thresholds, doorways, gates, borders between what is known and what is mysterious. Magic often resides in those thresholds. Not hidden, but liminal. Not secret, but slightly apart. Imagine a hilltop where smoke rises from a small altar. The wind brushes against the grass, and voices speak softly. Or imagine a stone circle on a plain, where shadows move slowly across the ground as the sun climbs and falls. The stones do nothing dramatic. They stand, they endure, they mark time. Their presence is calm. They are not built to frighten, but to orient. Human beings have always wanted orientation. We look for meaning in the stars, in the shape of the land, in the flow of water. We look for patterns, and sometimes the patterns look back. In the ancient world, priests, shamans, healers, and astrologers were observers. They watched the sky. They listened to birds. They waited for signs not with fear, but with patience. Their work required slowness, the kind of attention that only comes when nothing is rushed. They were not wizards in modern stories, but caretakers of interpretation. In many early cities, magic was simply knowledge. Knowledge of seasons, knowledge of remedies, knowledge of symbols. And because knowledge was precious, it was guarded. Temples became libraries, libraries became sanctuaries, sanctuaries became cities of learning. Some of these cities will vanish. Others will remain. A few will be remembered only through myth. Picture, for a moment, a city that stands on a riverbank. Its walls are made of clay bricks baked in sunlight. Along the top of the wall, watchmen walk slow circuits, listening not for threats, but for changes in weather, for strange calls of birds, for anything unusual on the horizon. Inside the city, narrow streets wind between houses. There is a central square where traders lay out goods. And somewhere, perhaps near the river, perhaps beneath a temple, there is a room where scrolls are kept. In that quiet room, someone writes by lamplight. The words are records of dreams, of omens, of future possibilities. The air smells of oil and warm dust. Outside, the city sleeps. This is magic. Not the kind of magic that summons storms or transforms metal into gold, but the magic of memory, of patterns, of slow attention. It is the magic of people who believe that the world speaks, if only we are quiet enough to listen. In every region we will visit tonight, this idea will appear again. In Egypt, priests stand in long corridors where the sun aligns with stone. In Mesopotamia, scribes climb ziggurats to read the heavens. In Greece, initiates walk in darkness to discover meaning. In Rome, rituals are repeated with exact precision. In India and China, Hidden kingdoms are imagined among mountains and mist. Magic, in these forms, is gentle. It is attentive. It is curious. It is in conversation with nature. Now, as you rest, imagine another scene. It is night. The world is silent except for wind. A small shrine stands beneath a tall tree. A single candle burns before it, protected from the breeze by stone. Someone kneels, not in fear, but in respect. They whisper a name, a hope, a question. The candle flickers. The tree moves slightly. Nothing else happens. And yet, for the one who kneels, something feels answered. Not every hidden city is made of stone. Many are made of thought. As cities grow, magic becomes more structured. Certain people are believed to hold knowledge. There are chants, symbols, calendars. But beneath the structure, the ancient idea remains that the world is speaking. To listen, one must be quiet. To understand, one must be patient. To remember, one must repeat. Ancient magic did not seek to dominate nature. It sought to live with it, to observe, to honor, to move carefully and slowly. And so, in this first part of our story, we stand at the threshold of understanding. We have not yet entered Egypt's cool corridors, nor climbed the first steps of Mesopotamian ziggurats. But we feel them ahead, waiting in the quiet distance. For now, stay where you are. Let your breathing slow. Let the shapes of the ancient world drift gently in your mind. Firelight on stone, wind over grass, stars reflected in dark water. There is no rush. The journey has only begun. We will travel further, but not quickly. For sleep is slow, and history, too, moves at its own pace. When you are ready, we will step into the sands of Egypt, where magic becomes architecture and cities become libraries of stone. Begin in the warm sands of the Nile Valley, where sunrise glows like slow fire along the eastern horizon, and the river reflects soft reds and golds in rippling motion. The air is cool before the day's heat arrives, and the land is hushed, except for the gentle lap of water against the bank. Here, civilizations rise not suddenly, but gradually, like the yearly swelling of the river that brings life to soil, to plants, to people. In ancient Egypt, magic is not strange, nor is it forbidden. Magic is natural. It is order. It is the quiet belief that everything has its place, and that balance must be maintained. The Egyptians call this balance ma'at, a principle woven into the world, connecting stars, kings, crops, and souls. To enter an Egyptian temple is to enter a space of deliberate stillness. The outer walls are massive and smooth. They catch sunlight and cast broad shadows. Inside, columns rise like forests of stone. Their surfaces are carved with birds, trees, gods, and repeating symbols. Colors shimmer faintly on the walls, blue, green, red, and gold. Though centuries have passed and pigments have faded, in imagination we see them restored. The architecture is precise. Temples are aligned with celestial events. Light travels through narrow corridors on certain days of the year and illuminates statues in quiet chambers. Each alignment is intentional. It is a conversation between earth and sky. Picture a long hall. At dawn, a thin beam of golden light appears, travels along the stone floor, and rests upon the face of a statue. The air is cool. Dust floats. Incense burns. The moment is not dramatic. It is calm, expected, repeated year after year with patient accuracy. Magic, here, is a form of engineering. The priests do not summon power, they reveal it. Priests are guardians of knowledge. They memorize long sequences of words. They read signs in the stars. They study mathematics, healing, and ritual. The boundary between science and magic does not exist. To know is to perform magic. To write a name is to hold a part of its power. To carve words in stone is to make them endure. The temples are not only places of worship, they are libraries. In rooms deep within, scrolls are stored in wooden chests. The chests are stacked against walls. Scribes sit cross-legged on mats, writing with reed pens dipped in black ink. The ink smells faintly of resin. Lamps burn low. Outside, the sunlight is bright, but inside the writing rooms, shadows are gentle. Each scroll holds knowledge, lists of stars, remedies for illness, hymns, rituals, stories. Some scrolls are read often, others are rarely opened, but all are preserved because knowledge is sacred. Even myths, even dreams. Among these scrolls, there are stories of hidden cities. Cities beneath the desert, cities beneath the Nile, cities in the horizon of the afterlife. They are not maps to places that can be found with footsteps. They are symbolic. They are architectural memory. They are the geography of the soul. One of the most powerful ideas in Egypt is the city of the dead. The west bank of the Nile, where the sun sets, becomes a symbolic landscape. Tombs are built into rock. Walls are painted with scenes of afterlife journeys. Boats traveling through darkness, stars shining above. Priests speak words that guide the spirit. The dead are laid to rest with objects they may need: bowls, tools, amulets, small statues. Everything is gentle. Everything is careful. The pharaoh's tomb is a city in itself. Corridors lead to chambers. Chambers lead to secret rooms. There are false doors, hidden passages, sealed walls. The architecture is a puzzle, yet the purpose is not to confuse the living. It is to protect the dead, to keep the journey safe, to maintain Ma'at. Imagine standing in a long corridor deep within a pyramid. The walls are smooth. The air is still. The ceiling slopes upward, vanishing into shadow. You hold a small lamp. The flame flickers. The light is warm. There is silence except for your breath. This place is still. It is not frightening. It is solemn, respectful, like a library where no one speaks. In Egypt, magic is quiet. It is ritual. It is repetition. It is the belief that words spoken correctly, gestures made with precision, can align human life with cosmic order. The most famous library in Egypt is one that we can no longer see, the Library of Alexandria. Scholars from many lands gather there. They read, write, copy, debate. They believe knowledge is endless. They attempt to collect every text in the world. They imagine a city where learning itself is a kind of magic. We can picture them in long halls with scrolls piled high, voices murmuring softly, lamps burning through the night. Outside, waves break against the shore. Inside, the air smells of papyrus and oil. Some say that in those halls, secrets were kept, maps of unknown places, formulas for healing, histories of vanished kingdoms. The truth is simple. Knowledge in Egypt is a form of magic. And yet, not all knowledge is written. Some is in architecture, stone upon stone. Some is in ritual. Some is in memory. In distant villages along the Nile, farmers offer bread and beer to household spirits. In cities, priests pour water from sacred vessels and recite ancient hymns. In the desert, travelers leave small altars among rocks. Everywhere, the belief is the same. The world is alive with meaning. As the sun climbs higher, heat gathers in the air. The Nile glitters. Palms sway. Life continues. Time in Egypt unfolds slowly, like the steady movement of the river. Centuries pass. Dynasties rise and fall. The temples remain. What is hidden is not necessarily secret. What is magical is not necessarily dramatic. Much of Egyptian magic is mundane. Organization, measurement, repetition. Farmers mark the floods. Architects measure shadows. Priests count stars. Through these slow, careful actions, they shape a world that endures. And so, dear listener, we leave Egypt for a moment, carrying its calm precision with us. Ahead lies another land between two great rivers, where cities rise from clay and dust, and where magic is written in stars. Now gently we will travel east where two great rivers meet, the Tigris and the Euphrates. The water spreads through fertile plains, turning dust into green fields. The air is warm. The sky is wide. In this landscape, one of the world's earliest civilizations takes form. The cities of Mesopotamia grow from mud brick, sun-dried and simple, yet strong enough to endure. Walls rise. Streets take shape. People gather to trade grain, wool, and pottery. Life is busy but not rushed. The rhythm of the land dictates everything: planting, harvesting, waiting for rain. Here, magic is observation. The stars are counted. Dreams are recorded. The flight of birds is watched with patient attention. Priests and scribes climb high terraces, ziggurats that stand above the flat plain, to read signs in sky and wind. The ziggurat is not a temple in the sense of worship alone. It is also a platform for watching. At night, the stars turn slowly overhead. Lamps burn below, small points of light. On the highest tier, someone stands, wrapped in a cloak, writing marks on clay tablets. What they write is not mystical fantasy. It is data: the position of a star at dawn, the movement of a planet at dusk, the color of the moon, the behavior of animals before a storm. Patterns are tracked over decades. Magic is statistics written in clay. Imagine a quiet room, small and cool, where scribes sit at low tables. The smell of clay is damp and earthy. Tablets are pressed with marks, each line deliberate. These tablets hold omens, prophecies, interpretations. They are stored in rows, stacked neatly. Some are copied, some are forgotten. All are part of the same effort: to understand the world. In temples, oracles speak. Not loudly, not dramatically, but softly, from behind curtains or through carved openings. A question is asked. An answer is given. The voice is calm. The words are slow. Sometimes the message is clear. Sometimes it is cryptic. But it is always delivered with careful tone. Whispering temples are not places of spectacle. They are places of listening. The oldest known cities appear here: Uruk, Eridu. Eridu especially carries an air of myth. Many later texts say it is the first city created by gods, home of deep wisdom. It may not be literal. It may be symbolic. But the idea matters. People believed wisdom had a home. Not knowledge alone, but wisdom. How to read signs, how to navigate life, how to speak with the world. In Mesopotamia, gods are close. They walk in gardens. They eat bread. They share wine. They sit on thrones. Magic is relationship, a kind of diplomacy. Rituals are agreements. To pour water, to burn incense, to speak a name is to renew the bond between human and divine. Imagine a courtyard at dusk. The sky turns violet. Smoke rises from a small brazier. The air smells of cedar and ash. A priest arranges offerings. There is no haste. Each movement is slow. A cup of water, a bowl of grain, a few drops of oil. The gestures are graceful, familiar, repeated countless times. The priest speaks words that have been spoken for centuries. The city breathes. Inside, in cool chambers, hidden rooms hold things that are rarely seen. Statues, tablets, seals, sacred objects carved from stone. Some rooms are locked. Some are forgotten. Others are known only to a few. These rooms are not treasure vaults. They are places of memory. As night falls, the wind moves across the plain. Lamps are lit. The ziggurat stands against the dark, tier upon tier. Stars appear. The scribes climb again, step by measured step, carrying clay tablets and styluses. On the highest platform, they sit, wrapped in cloaks, and watch the sky. The world is quiet. The stars are bright. They write. Centuries pass. Kingdoms rise and fall. Empires change. But the rhythm remains. Observation, interpretation, respect. Magic in Mesopotamia is not thunder or fire. It is attention. It is patience. It is the belief that the world speaks through signs, through patterns, through quiet shifts in the natural order. In many ways, this is the same belief we saw in Egypt. But here, the voice of the world is written on tablets, not carved into stone. Clay, not granite. Memory that can be broken, yet preserved. Some tablets survive for thousands of years. Others crumble. Cities disappear. Dust covers walls. Wind erases footprints. Yet beneath the earth, the fragments endure. Archaeologists will find them. They will brush away soil. They will read the marks. They will discover lists of stars, dreams, and omens. And they will realize that ancient magic was a form of knowledge, careful and calm. Tonight, dear listener, we rest with that idea. Magic is observation. Magic is patience. Magic is listening. Ahead, across the sea, lies Greece, where knowledge becomes philosophy, where mysteries are taught in darkness, and where cities rise in marble and moonlight. But we will not hurry. The night is long, and the journey is gentle. When you are ready, we will cross the water. Cross the sea, dear listener, to a land of light and stone. The water that carries us is calm and deep, reflecting a sky so wide that it seems to stretch endlessly in every direction. Islands emerge slowly from the blue, their outlines softened by mist, their hills covered in olive trees that shimmer silver green in the breeze. Greece greets us with brightness. Marble glows in sunlight. Columns rise like pale trees. Voices carry through open courtyards. Yet for all its clarity, Greece is also a land of mystery, where wisdom is preserved not through temples alone, but through secret teachings whispered in darkness, remembered in silence. The ancient Greeks believed that knowledge has layers. Some truths are for everyone. Others are for the few who seek them. To learn certain things, one must travel, one must prepare, one must be initiated. Among the most famous rites are those at Eleusis, a sanctuary not far from Athens. Each year, for thousands of years, people walk a sacred road. They pass through city gates, across fields, beside hills. The journey is quiet, contemplative. At night, they enter great halls where torches burn and shadows dance. What happens inside these halls is never written down, not because it is forbidden by fear, but because it is held in reverence. Imagine a chamber lit only by flickering fire. Imagine statues and columns rising in the dark. Imagine faces half-shadowed, half-illuminated, drawn not in fear, but in wonder. To be initiated is not to learn a new spell. It is to see the world differently, to understand that death and life are part of the same cycle, that the land sleeps and wakes, that grain is buried in earth and rises again. It is slow knowledge, seasonal knowledge, agricultural magic, practiced with quiet devotion. Elsewhere in Greece, other mysteries flourish. The cult of Dionysus celebrates the power of transformation. The followers wear garlands of leaves and move through forests at night, singing softly, carrying small torches. They believe joy is sacred. They believe that the divine is found in wine, in rhythm, in dance. Yet even here, the mood is not frantic. It is seasonal, cyclical, a pattern of the year. And there are the Orphic mysteries, older still, where stories of death and rebirth are sung in long, flowing verses. These songs, like river currents, move slowly, circling again and again around familiar themes: darkness, descent, return. In some cities, knowledge is protected through philosophy. Pythagoras, whose name echoes through time, is said to have founded a school where numbers are more than quantities. They are symbols. They are patterns. They are harmonies. Students live quietly, eating simple food, studying shapes, proportions, music. In their worldview, mathematics is magic. To know the secret of the universe is to know the ratio that governs its music. Picture them sitting in a circle, listening to a single note played on a lyre. They close their eyes. They hear something beyond sound. They feel order. They feel calm. Other schools gather in gardens and covered walkways. Plato speaks of forms that lie behind all things. Aristotle walks slowly through groves, observing animals, plants, stars. Knowledge is collected in steady, careful steps. Observations are written. Questions are asked. Answers are tentative, open to revision. Yet even here, among marble courts and philosophical debates, there are places of secrecy. Libraries that hold scrolls not shown to all, teachings whispered only to those who are ready to hear. In the city of Pergamon, north across the Aegean, a great library stands. Shelves reach high. Scrolls are wrapped carefully. The air smells of parchment and cedar. Scholars move among the stacks, voices low. Outside, wind blows through colonnades. Inside, lamplight glows warm. This is a sanctuary of thought. Not far away, another library grows. The famous Library of Alexandria. Though we visited it in imagination from Egypt, we may return to it here, for Greece and Egypt meet in this place. Scholars from many lands gather. They read, they write, they translate. The sea outside is restless. Inside, minds are still. In halls lined with papyrus, they keep maps of lands both real and imagined. They write histories. They record myths. They preserve fragments of poetry. They debate the nature of the soul. They measure the earth. They collect dreams. In these libraries, knowledge is magic because it preserves what would otherwise be lost. Yet some things are lost. Fires come. Wars change cities. Scrolls disappear. The knowledge that once seemed eternal vanishes. But memory remains. Stories endure. Ideas travel, carried by people, carried by time. Greece teaches us that magic is learning. Magic is initiation. Magic is the quiet recognition that knowledge has depth. Imagine now a temple at dusk. The marble is warm from the day's sun. Shadows stretch across the ground. Cicadas sing. In the doorway, a single figure stands, holding a small lamp. The flame is steady. The air is still. There is no rush. The night is long. We will leave Greece slowly, honoring its mysteries. Ahead lies Rome, where ritual becomes institution, where power is aligned with tradition, and where magic is woven into law. Settle deeper. Let your breath soften. The journey continues. Centuries later, the roads lead to Rome. Stone roads stretch across hills, across valleys, across rivers. The empire expands not by sudden rush, but by steady construction. Wherever Roman soldiers walk, bridges are built, aqueducts rise, cities grow. In Rome, magic is not loud. It is not hidden. It is woven into daily life through ritual. To begin anything of importance, to plan a field, to build a wall, to go to war, one must ask the gods for favor. But the asking is formal. There are gestures, phrases, times of day. Everything is orderly, precise. The Romans do not chase mystery. They preserve tradition. Imagine an open square paved with stone. In the center stands a small altar. A priest dressed in white approaches. He carries a bowl of grain. He sprinkles the grain on the fire. The flame flickers. He speaks words in a slow, measured voice. People stand quietly. The ritual is familiar. It is comforting. In Rome, the boundary between sacred and civic does not exist. To be a citizen is to participate in ceremonies. The calendar is filled with festivals. Processions move through streets. Music plays. Even in celebration, there is form. Even in joy, there is order. Deep in the city, near the Forum, a flame burns. It is tended by the Vestal Virgins, priestesses dedicated to maintaining the sacred fire. The chamber is cool, shadowed, and silent. The flame is small, steady. It has burned for centuries. As long as it remains, Rome remains. The fire is life. The fire is memory. Imagine entering the chamber. The floor is smooth stone. The air is cool. The light is soft and golden. A priestess moves with quiet steps, adding wood, watching the flame. Her movements are slow, deliberate. Nothing here is hurried. Beneath the city, hidden sanctuaries exist. They are not secret to all, but they are not visited by everyone. These are the Mithraeums, underground shrines dedicated to Mithras, a god of soldiers. The shrines are carved into rock or built from brick. The ceilings are low. The walls are painted. Benches line the sides. At one end stands a relief, Mithras slaying the cosmic bull. The space is intimate. Lamps flicker. Shadows move across painted stars. Ritual meals are held here. Men eat together, drink together, tell stories. They are far from home, far from the lands where they were born. The shrine gives them belonging. Rome builds upon older cities. Beneath every foundation lies another foundation. Layers of stone, layers of memory. Old temples become new temples. Ancient altars are covered by newer ones. The past is never erased, only buried. Imagine walking through the streets at dawn. Marble buildings rise on all sides. Fountains splash. Statues stand still. But beneath the pavement, beneath the foundations, beneath the stones, there are chambers. Rooms. Corridors. Forgotten sanctuaries. The city is like a palimpsest, written and rewritten. Magic in Rome is not dramatic. It is procedural. It is consistent. It is part of administration. The augurs read the flight of birds. The haruspices examine the organs of sacrificed animals. The actions are not sensational. They are careful. They are calm. Rome is an empire of ritual. Through ritual, people feel connected to ancestors, to gods, to one another. Through ritual, time is organized. Festivals mark seasons. Prayers mark transitions. Every change in life has words to accompany it. And yet, beyond the formal rituals, Rome knows stories of hidden places. There are tales of vanished cities in distant lands. There are rumors of lost manuscripts. There are maps of unknown islands. But Rome does not seek mystery for its own sake. Rome seeks stability, tradition, continuity. To walk through a Roman city at twilight is to feel the weight of centuries. Columns cast long shadows. The air cools. Voices soften. Lamps are lit. Dinner begins. Life is orderly. We leave Rome not with abrupt departure, but with slow steps. Ahead lie mountains, forests, rivers, and other civilizations with their own hidden knowledge. Turn east, dear listener, beyond deserts and high peaks, where magic takes new forms, where cities are carved from cliffs and veiled in mist. The night is long. We wander gently. Turn east again, beyond the lands of Rome, across deserts where wind shapes dunes, across high mountains where snow glitters in cold light. In these regions, ancient civilizations flourish, each with its own understanding of the world, its own rituals, its own hidden cities. India. In India, Magic is woven into the fabric of philosophy, religion, medicine, and art. Rituals are ancient. Texts are old. Stories are long. The land is vast, stretched between Himalayas and seas. On riverbanks, ascetics sit in meditation. Their bodies are still. Their breaths are slow. They believe that knowledge lies within, that the self is a field of discovery. Some wander from town to town, carrying little more than a staff and a bowl. Others remain in mountain caves, listening to wind and water. Imagine a cave carved into rock. The walls are smooth from centuries of touch. A small lamp burns. Outside, snow falls. Inside, warmth gathers from stone. A figure sits cross-legged. Time seems to pause. Further south, cities rise. Temples are carved with intricate patterns. Towers reach toward sky. Bells ring in courtyards. Incense drifts. People walk barefoot on cool stone floors. The air smells of sandalwood, flowers, and earth. Statues of gods and goddesses glow in lamplight. Ritual is music, slow, rhythmic, soothing. In these spaces, magic is devotion. Mantras are repeated. Gestures are precise. Offerings are arranged in patterns. Water is poured. Lamps are lit. Silence follows. Hidden cities appear in stories. Cities beneath the sea, cities in forests, cities in clouds. Some are metaphorical. Some are legendary. Some may have existed and disappeared. But the idea is constant. Wisdom is somewhere waiting. Beyond temples, travelers speak of siddhas, beings of great knowledge who live in remote places. They heal with herbs. They write in secret scripts. They move through forests unseen. Whether real or imagined, they embody the belief that knowledge can be both hidden and present. China. Travel further east to China, where mountains rise like waves frozen in stone, where rivers wind for thousands of miles, and where the mist softens every horizon. In China, magic is harmony. It is balance between earth and sky, between water and fire, between wind and stone. The world is understood through patterns. Yin and yang, the five elements, the flow of qi. Imagine standing at the base of a tall mountain. Clouds wrap around the peaks. Pines cling to cliffs. A small path winds upward. Somewhere near the top, a shrine sits in silence. It is made of wood and stone. Its roof curves gracefully. A bell hangs from a beam. When wind passes, the bell rings softly. Within these mountains, legends tell of immortals. Sages who have mastered inner alchemy, who breathe quietly, who eat little, who live long, who walk among mist and trees. They are symbols of harmony, of patience, of knowledge gained through stillness. Elsewhere, in cities, scholars study texts. Calligraphy flows across paper. Brushes move slowly. Ink spreads. Libraries gather scrolls. Wisdom is preserved. The celestial bureaucracy, gods, spirits, immortals, mirrors the structure of the empire. Order is the rule. Ritual is the method. Offerings are made. Names are spoken. Paper charms are burned. Smoke rises. Somewhere in these stories lies the idea of a hidden kingdom. Shambhala, a city of peace, said to exist beyond mountains, where wisdom is preserved in calm and light. Whether real or imagined, the idea comforts. It says that knowledge survives, even if the world forgets. Across Asia, from India to China to Tibet, magic is not spectacle. It is discipline. It is meditation. It is ritual. It is quiet. Picture prayer flags on a high ridge. They flutter in clear wind. Snow lies on distant peaks. The air is thin. The world is vast. And yet, in this vastness, there is peace. Hidden cities may be physical or symbolic. They may be caves, monasteries, mountain valleys. They may be memory, dream, or metaphor. But they endure, because people believe in them. We have traveled far now, dear listener. The night is deep. Ahead lies a bridge between worlds. The Middle Ages, where memory becomes map, where stories of hidden cities fill books, and where imagination preserves ancient magic. Rest for a moment. Breathe gently. The journey continues. When ancient empires fade, memory becomes map. In the Middle Ages, knowledge is fragile. Libraries burn. Scrolls are lost. Yet monks and scholars across Europe labor patiently in quiet rooms, copying texts line by line. The scratch of quills echoes softly. Candles flicker. Wax drips. The walls are thick. The rooms are cold. Outside, wind moves across fields. Inside, time slows. On parchment, they draw the world. Coasts, rivers, mountains. At the edges, they draw creatures. Lions, serpents, dragons. The unknown is not empty. It is filled with imagination. Stories of hidden cities endure. El Dorado, a city of gold and distant lands. Iram of the Pillars, buried beneath the sands. Cathay, a country beyond known roads. Prester John's kingdom, somewhere far, somewhere rich, somewhere magical. These places may not exist, but the belief in them is strong. Travelers search. Explorers write. Mariners sail. They return with tales, half true, half dreamed. Medieval maps are not tools for navigation. They are expressions of wonder. A river may flow in a circle. A mountain may stand alone. A city may appear twice. Accuracy is not the goal. Imagination is. In monasteries, books are copied. Some are sacred texts. Some are histories. Some are stories of marvels. Scholars write calmly, methodically. They do not hurry. Each word is a small piece of memory preserved against time. Imagine a room at night. Shelves hold manuscripts. A monk sits at a desk. A candle burns beside him. He dips his quill. He writes. Outside, the world sleeps. Inside, the past is given new life. Through these efforts, fragments of ancient knowledge survive. Egyptian rites, Greek philosophies, Roman rituals, Indian stories, Chinese poems, all travel through centuries, through hands, through ink. Medieval people believe the world is full of hidden places. They speak of caves filled with treasure, of mountains that hold cities in the clouds, of forests where time moves differently. These are dreams, yet they shape exploration. They shape history. Imagine riding through a forest at dawn. Mist hangs low. Trees stand tall. Birds call. A path winds between trunks. You do not know where the path leads. You follow it gently, curious. That is how medieval travelers moved through the world. With curiosity, with humility, with wonder. Hidden cities, whether real or imagined, symbolize something important. Hope. They promise that beyond the horizon, there is something more. Something beautiful. Something wise. The last light of ancient magic shines here, in memory, in maps, in stories. And so, dear listener, we reach the quiet end of our journey. We have traveled through time and across continents. We have seen firelight on stone, sunlight on temples, moonlight on mountains. We have walked through libraries, temples, shrines, caves, forests, and forgotten cities. We have listened to whispers and wind, to water and silence. What have we learned? We have learned that ancient magic is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not shout. It does not dazzle. Ancient magic is calm. It is careful. It is patient. It watches stars. It counts seasons. It honors cycles. It is protection. It is healing. It is memory. Ancient magic is found in places slightly apart. In groves, in caves, in libraries, in mountains, in rooms where lamps burn slowly through the night. These places endure because people need them. We need spaces of quiet. We need moments of wonder. We need stories of hidden cities, even if those cities are only reflections of our longing. They endure because we imagine them. They endure because we dream. They endure because we remember. Magic is not something that breaks the world. Magic is something that makes the world meaningful. It is a way of listening, a way of seeing, a way of being present. And so, the idea of hidden cities becomes more than geography. It becomes part of us. The city may be built of stone or of thought. It may be found in desert or forest. It may lie beneath ocean or beneath memory. It may exist in ruins or only in stories. But somewhere always there is a place where wisdom is kept safe. And so, they endure because people need places of wonder. They endure because knowledge is sacred. They endure because imagination is powerful. And the stories continue. They drift across centuries like wind over water. They settle in quiet places in the mind. They wait for those who seek them gently. As night deepens, we leave these cities behind. We do not close the door. We simply step away, knowing they remain. We can return whenever we wish. They are part of the world, part of memory, part of dreaming. The story continues, though our journey pauses. In the silent hours, the hidden cities rest. Their walls are warm under sunlight. Their chambers are cool in shadow. Their libraries are filled with scrolls and soft voices. Their temples are lit by small flames that never go out. Sleep well, dear listener. Let your breath slow. Let your body rest. You have traveled far. You have seen much. Now the night holds you gently. Good night.